I have a desk job, and so that means I spend a lot of time in front of a computer in a sitting position. Over time, things got progressively worse. I had the morning stiffness a lot. At times it was on the left, other times it was on the right. It just kept shifting. It was pretty bad. Kind of impacts not only how you feel physically, but also how you feel emotionally. I would say the last couple of weeks, it's been kind of down to like zero. Very happy with the results. I feel better almost right away. You're helping people get out of not only pain, but that emotional dark space.
First of all, I just want to say thank you so much for being here. Now, that means a lot to me because I know for somebody who's maybe watching or listening to this video in the future, they will get inspired. And this is the reason why I do what I do as well. So I just want to say thank you so much for being here.
Of course, yeah, happy to be here, Alvin.
All right, cool. So why don't we get started? Maybe you tell us a little bit more about your background, like what do you do, how old are you, and how long you've been having this chronic lower back problem?
I've been having lower back pain issues for 5, 6, 7 years, but kind of over time, progressively, things got progressively worse. Around this time last year, it was pretty bad, right? And I remember telling you, right, I worked with a chiropractor for a little bit, and it didn't seem to help at all, right? And in fact, I thought that the treatment I was getting was kind of making things worse, right? He tried to do spinal decompression. It just did not work for me at all. And so I have a desk job, and so that means I spend a lot of time in front of a computer in a sitting position, and obviously that doesn't help. Again, over time, I was looking for a solution. I kind of came across your Instagram post, and I was like, hey, let me give this a try, and I'm glad I did.
That's awesome. So what would you say your worst moment before you joined the program versus how your body feeling right now?
Yeah, so not being in control of your body is probably the worst. I'm pretty sure you hear that a lot from your clients, but not being able to do the things that you did in the past and kind of having your mobility limited, it's kind of impacts not only how you feel physically, but also how you feel emotionally, right? And so to find a program that kind of helps you kind of dig yourself out of that hole, and it was pretty incredible.
Yeah. So when you say emotionally, what do you mean by that specifically?
Yeah, I mean, you're down, right? Because there's certain things that you want to do, right? Like you want to go for a run, or you want to go to the gym, or like you want to go skiing, and you don't know if you can trust your body 100%. Those things kind of obviously kind of impact you emotionally as well. And so in general, I think you become a little bit more pessimistic about kind of where your life is trending. And so yeah, I was kind of definitely feeling that way. And again, last year they told me it was L3, L4 kind of bulging discs. And I was like, what does this mean? Is it going to be like this for the rest of my life? And sometimes you kind of get into like a very dark place, which is not great.
Yeah. Do you see or feel the same way?
No, no. I mean, there has been a lot of improvement, as you know, right? We've talked quite a bit over the course of the last 12 months, but you start small steps, right, at the beginning. Starting with those kind of rudimentary exercises, and I have to say, they're kind of difficult, right? They kind of at the beginning they sort of feel a little awkward, and your body is not used to those. What I would say is just kind of pushing through and kind of believing is kind of what gets you to the next level, and you start to see some results. I mean, I remember even with the foam roller exercise, I used to tell you I feel better almost right away, right? And that kind of gives you confidence at the beginning that maybe things are going to continue to improve, and they did. I think there was certainly a time where my kind of improvement plateaued a little bit, but I said, hey, I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to keep persevering with the program, and overall kind of pretty happy with the results.
That's awesome. So now I think since you mentioned that, what would you say the biggest difference between all the exercises we're doing versus everything you ever tried before?
I mean, I think it's overall kind of the structure around it, really, because nowadays I think we get inundated with information. You open Instagram, and Instagram kind of figures you out pretty quickly, and it starts kind of giving you it starts giving you content that is somehow related to lower back pain, and like you're gonna hear a lot about stretching, you're gonna hear a lot about this and that, and I think at some point it just becomes a lot of noise, and you could get overwhelmed pretty quickly because a lot of these people who post their content online, they're sort of convincing in their own way. And so I think it's just that it just becomes overwhelming. And I think one of your kind of very early messages, which kind of resonated with me, was like, hey, just kind of stop scrolling online and stop looking for kind of the magical next thing that is going to help you. Just stick with the program, and you're going to see results. And I'm like, you know what? I've tried a number of things. I'm going to stick with this program. And so, hey, every now and then I've seen kind of those videos online, and every now and then I'll kind of save those for a future time. But for the most part, I haven't really deviated from the program. I think the message, hey, just stay on course and just keep doing the right thing. I mean, especially if people have the kind of the one-on-one check-ins with you, you would look at the test results and you customize the program for them, right? It's not a one size fits all. It's customizable. And, I think that kind of works really well.
That's awesome. So what's your pain level before we start working together, and what's your pain level right now on a scale of 1 to 10?
Yeah, it was probably like 7, 8, 9 at times. So it was pretty bad. And the frustrating thing about it was at times it was on the left, other times it was on the right. It just kept shifting. I had the morning stiffness a lot. It was just not great. And I would say lately, the last couple of weeks, it's been kind of down to like 0 or 1, but kind of more often it's been 0. So the latest kind of tweak that we did, and I'm glad you and I talked about this with the sleeping position, has really helped, because I feel like not only did it help with the morning stiffness, but also I feel like it added another 10 to maybe 20% improvement to my overall kind of feeling throughout the day. So it not only impacts that kind of starting hour or two of the day, but again, overall, I think in a lot of ways, if you think about, when we do something, it's just 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and it's not, progress is never linear. Right. And so that's why I feel like my sleeping position was kind of taking me back a little bit, or like trying to run with the handbrake on, if you will. But now that we've adjusted that, I think overall kind of feel better and definitely more optimistic about kind of where I'm headed longer term.
That's awesome. And I know you try a lot of different things back in the past. So I think you've tried chiropractor, and like what else you tried before?
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone starts with like ibuprofen, but you're like, I can't take this forever, right? Like, it does help, here and there, but it's just really not a solution. It just kind of masks the situation. Try the chiropractor, physical therapy, and stretching. That's probably a good summary of kind of everything that I tried before your program.
Yeah. And do you know like how much money you spent in the past?
4K plus. I mean, chiropractor is not inexpensive, right? And it just really didn't work for me. Should have maybe recognized that it wasn't working for me sooner. So I didn't have to like do it for 3 months, but it is what it is. So there's no one size fits all. But to me, chiropractic help, it's just one of those things that, probably provides temporary relief, but it doesn't address the root cause.
Now, I know you tried, there's way too many things and it didn't really work out for you. So what would you say your mindset before joining this program? Like, were you pretty skeptical? If you were, like, what makes you make that decision and really decide to give this a shot?
Oh, that's a great question. So I think the way you structure the program is quite good, right? So you give clients 1 week to kind of see what the program is about. And for people who are looking for solutions, that's actually a great way to test try the program, to kind of see what it's about, watch some videos, and make a decision. So a lot of programs kind of will ask you to commit right away, and you just don't know if it's going to be something that kind of works for you. There was just, again, so much noise out there, and people were reluctant to commit. And so with your program, that first week was really helpful. And there was just something about, I think, your messaging that kind of really resonated. And I'm sure it resonates with a lot of people, which is, it was kind of pretty simple messaging. Hey, you're here for the right reasons, and we have a program that works. If you're committed and if you do the work, you're going to see results. And again, you said, I get that a lot of you are going to continue to look around and be bombarded with information, but hey, trust me on this one. If there's going to be progress, initially it might be kind of minimal progress, but if you do the work, if you're consistent in doing the work, there will be results. And so it's kind of, that resonated with me. I like that. And it was simple, but yet convincing message. And so it really worked.
That's awesome. And I know you mentioned like at the beginning of the program is kind of slow, but if you like into the program maybe 1 or 2 months or 3 months, and then you look back, you're finally figured out, wow, actually like you've been making so much progress. So how would you describe the first part of the program where we're just gonna do some pretty simple drill, focus on breathing and focus on your initial 2 assessment, just straight like raise and internal rotations, like how that period feels like to you, and at what time you actually feels like, okay, right now this is actually working for me, and then
Yeah.
you finally decide to, stick with it.
I think your body just kind of needs to adjust to kind of whatever it is that you're doing. And so it does take a little bit of time, right? And so at the beginning, as I was saying earlier, kind of the exercises do feel a little awkward, or like your body is not quite responding, or you feel a little, I think really kind of your mobility is restricted. As you do those on a daily basis, obviously things, kind of do feel a little better and a little easier. No surprise, you see that reflected in your test results. And so when you see that progress initially after, I'd say maybe the first month, you realize that you're on the right path. Now, you're not in the clear just yet at that point, but you're like, maybe you've gone from, an 8 to a 6, right? And that's a meaningful step, right? And there's obviously a lot of encouragement that comes with that. I think at that point you're wondering, okay, is this just a 8 to 6 kind of treatment program, or is it going to continue, right? Is the progress going to continue? And so as you continue kind of through the second month, the third month, you continue to see, things getting better. And again, there's no one size fits all. I mean, there's certain things that you recommended that didn't work from the get-go. And so then sometimes it's just it's a good time to kind of reassess, maybe take a step back, go back to basics. And so I mean that kind of worked really well. So for me, I think that I hit the 3 to 4 level maybe beginning of summer. And for a while I was kind of frustrated that I couldn't make further progress, right? And in the summer I felt like, I mean, things are good, especially when people take some time off, you kind of move naturally, you move around a little bit more, you're more active. But I felt like I was still, my mobility was not quite what I wanted it to be. And again, I don't think that any of these things, like, improvement is not linear. So I need to continue to do the work, even though I feel pretty great right now. I'm not going to stop doing what I've been doing because I don't want to go back to, the state I was in last year. So I think it's kind of, you learn through the program, you learn what works, what doesn't. Again, you get better at doing the exercises. They don't take as much time. And I remember when I started, 30, 40 minutes sometimes to do some basic exercises, which I can get done maybe now in 15 minutes. And so you remember those things. And so when you have time, you kind of get down and you do those exercises and just kind of move on with your day.
That's awesome. I'm really happy for you.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. Last couple, maybe 1 or 2 questions for somebody who's maybe listening or watching this video right now. They're on the fence of joining the program and they're looking for like what will be your recommendations?
I remember this thing that, every big journey starts with a small step, right? You just need to take that small step and do the first week trial. And if you like what you're seeing, then keep going for a little bit longer. You're going to find out if the program works for you. But in general, what I would say, it really comes down to kind of commitment and wanting to do the work, right? Because there are no quick fixes. Like if you want a quick fix, you can take ibuprofen, or you can continue to take ibuprofen and still do the work. But my point is that I'm a big believer in kind of continuous progress. Like even if you make 1% improvement every week over time, that's gonna amount to a lot of improvement. It's so just being consistent, trusting the program, that would be my message to your future clients.
That's great. And last question is, do you think this program can work online? Because like a lot of people, they're asking me, I've been to, in-person treatment and they're not working for me. So I don't think an online program can really help me. So what do you want to say about that?
I mean, naturally, we're human beings. We like face-to-face contact, right? And we're used to face-to-face contact. I think, what the pandemic has taught us is that, hey, there are other ways, right? And so that kind of became the catalyst for a lot of people to maybe migrate a little bit more to kind of online programs. But no, it does work. And ultimately, right, even if it sort of feels a little unnatural at the beginning, you're going to realize that there's some conveniences too, right? Like you can do it from home. You don't have to, there's less prep time. The only thing you need to do is just, charge up your computer, turn it on and have that face-to-face time on the screen with you or one of your colleagues. And so, I mean, I think it's a matter of adaptation and it does work. Yeah, no question about it.
That's awesome. Now, is there anything else you want to add at the end?
Anything else? No, Alvin, what I want to say is kind of thank you. I'm very happy with the results. Overall, the journey has been a very positive one. At times, I've kind of messaged you on the side, and you get back to me, and you're always happy to kind of provide tips along the way. And the one-on-one sessions have been invaluable. So overall, I have nothing but great things to say about the program. It's great. You've done something really great here, and I'm sure you feel really good about it, right? Because you're helping people get out of not only pain, but that emotional dark space. And I think that probably feels very rewarding for you as well.
Yeah, 100%. That's the reason why I do what I do. So.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So I think that should be it for the interview.